This is the Projekt Gemineye update, brought to you by REFICUL Records. And here's your host, Mark Anthony K. Greetings and welcome to episode 112 of the Projekt Gemineye update. Just like last week, I started this week's episode off with a quick jam on one of the guitars that I use on the record, the new upcoming Projekt Gemineye in the Years 3073 Book 2 record. And this here is one of those ones that I've used quite a bit on the record. This is my Gibson Les Paul Studio 2014 year. It has the nice 490 pickups in it, and it also has the Clouson tuners on it. Can I get that in there? There we go. And yeah, it's a mahogany guitar, so of course it's nice and heavy. Back in the day, I was never really into Les Pauls. I was much more into sort of guitars like the Ibanez, like the Gems or the Jackson guitars or the Charvels, and those kind of 80s guitars. I really liked them because they were very hot rodded for the kind of stuff that I was doing back then. Had a Floyd Rose whammy bar and stuff like that. But as my tastes changed as far as playing and writing music, I started to realize that those guitars that you see most guitar players using, they play them for a reason. Les Pauls sound fantastic. They have a great tone. The only thing is some of them can be pretty heavy. I think this one is still weight relieved. I think 2014 they didn't go back to the full non-weight relieved. But still, even still with the weight relief, it is still a pretty, chunky guitar. Love the neck on it. It feels really good. Great to solo on. And the tones from the 490 pickups that are in here sound really, really good, both for rhythm and for lead playing, and surprisingly very good for clean sounds. A lot of the clean sounds from this record were via this guitar, mainly because if you look down here on the volume pots, you can pull them, you can pull them out, here you can hear this, you can pull them in and out, and they split the humbucker into coils, which is kind of like what the sound of a Fender Strat is like. So that becomes extremely handy for doing clean sounds. So it was a very useful guitar in more ways than one. That piece that I just played on over was something that I just wrote. I think yesterday I wrote it and recorded it all at the same time. It's the beauty of having your own studio. Yeah, I just wanted to show something or record something that would show some of my more fluid melodic playing that I tend to do. It wasn't without a few errors here and there, but that's not the point. I just wanted to just show the guitar a bit and just to show how it sounds. And I think it sounds pretty good. Again, that was done through my pod. The record is being done with a combination of some pod stuff, but mainly it's through my Hughes and Kettner amp over there with proper tube amp, and my Marshall cabinet is in the other room and it's mic'd up. And I think I did talk about this already, but just to give you a full update on what's going on. Yeah, so that's the guitar. I hope you enjoyed that little piece that I did. Now let's cut to a quick commercial and we'll be right back, and we'll be talking about who the next guest bass player is. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So before I announce who the guest bass player is, the third guest bass player, I'm going to preface this with a short story. Back in 2013, I was at the record store here in my local town in Brampton here, and which I would normally do. I'd go in every week and see what the new latest releases are and stuff like that, and go out and grab whatever was there that caught my fancy. And that week, when I was there in 2013, a record had just come out. And it was a live album. It was a 2 DVD, 3 CD package, so it was a pretty big thing and a big price to it. Oh, not that bad, but a pretty big price considering. And all the same, I went and bought it because I'm very much into live DVDs more than the live, albums at this point. And I put it on and was immediately impressed with the band, and mainly the artist who was, playing. It was his band, and the bass player in that band was just absolutely phenomenal, just unreal. And especially since he was playing music that he had not written, he was, they were playing music from another band that this other guy was in. Don't worry, it'll all make sense in a minute. It was fantastic to see him play it as well as he did. Fast forward to 2020, another artist that I'm really into was releasing a record this year. And it was a record that many of us were looking forward to because this artist, and this is the artist I'm talking about now, is not the bass player. He's a keyboard player. And people have been wanting a prog record from this guy for a long time. And that individual is Rick Wakeman. Now, he has an album called The Red Planet that just came out, and the person who played bass on that album is the same person who played bass on this album, which I talked about earlier. Steve Hackett, Genesis Revisited, live at Hammersmith. And down in the corner there, you see a man playing a Rickenbacker left-handed. Now, not only left-handed, but much to my astonishment, I discovered that he played the bass strung upside down as well. So the lowest string was not the top, it was at the bottom. It was a completely flipped. And that really boggled me because Genesis isn't the easiest music to play to begin with. And to, play it left-handed is one thing. I mean, if you're used to playing left-handed, that's one thing. But to play it strung upside down like that, boom, my mind was completely blown. So I had the honor of talking to Mr. Lee Pomeroy, and yes, that is the man who we were talking about as the third bass player, right there, Mr. Lee Pomeroy. And we did an interview with him on the Yes Music podcast. And and we talked about all kinds of things about the Rick Wakeman record and some of the things he's done in the past. And I thought it foolish of me of not to take this opportunity, off the air of course, and ask him about maybe playing on my record. So after we had a little bit of a talk and exchanged some emails and stuff like that, we came to an agreement, and Mr. Lee Pomeroy did a fantastic job on one of the songs on my record. That song is called Sacred Sons, and at this point, well, it is going to be this way. There's no going to be any changing of it as far as order goes. It is going to be technically the first song of the album. Before that song, Sacred Sons, there is a short 1.5-minute piece that starts the whole record, but as far as the main full-length first song, that is the first one, and Mr. Lee Pomeroy will be the man who plays bass on it. And what a performance. I mean, all of you guys who have known Lee's work, and I'm going to just go through a little bit of it as I've discovered some of his discography here. I mean, he's done so many things. Like I just showed you the Genesis Revisited. He's also appears on the It Bites, the band It Bites, A Map of the Past. He also appears on Genesis Revisited live at the Royal Albert Hall. He's also appeared more recently on the Electric Light Orchestra tour and band, and there was a record that came out, Wembley or Bust, I believe. It's credited here in 2017. He played bass and guitar. He also has like a double neck, much like Mike Rutherford did, so he probably plays guitar as well as bass. And for a lot of you Yes folks out there will remember him as the bass player for the ARW faction of Yes. And their live release that came out, the 50th anniversary live at the Apollo, there was a DVD and CD for that as well. And Mr. Lee Pomeroy is on that. And did an absolutely fantastic job of covering Chris Squire's bass parts. The only complaint I've ever had about that, and I saw ARW here in Toronto and had a chance to talk to him, and his name is departing my brain for some reason. Lou Molino, that's it. Lou Molino III was on drums, and I spoke to Lou and to Lee that evening. Had a great conversation and have some great pictures of them. Hopefully I can find them and post them up here as well. Yeah, and I've always been a big fan of his playing, and when he's playing stuff like the Yes stuff, I'm getting back to what I was going to say initially. The only complaint I ever had about his playing, it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with their sound man, because I felt, and as a lot of other Yes people did, was he was way too low in the mix. I mean, Chris Squire was so loud in the live mix of Yes. I mean, he couldn't be avoided. And that's how they should have mixed Lee, because he played it so well. I mean, when he did songs like Hard as Sunrise, and when they did a Long Distance Runaround, that bass has to be up. I mean, come on, Yes, I know it's ARW, but I mean, come on, man. The bass was such an integral part of Yes music. If you really want to do it justice, turn them up. Anyways, enough of my ranting. I'm here to celebrate Mr. Lee Pomeroy, because, again, he did a great job on this record. I think a lot of you who are fans of his playing are going to really enjoy what he did on my song here. And I think if just for that reason, I think it might be a great idea to come and check out this record for that, because I think he did a great job on it. And he was really, really great to work with, very easy. I went and told him on my little, knickknacks here, I need everything, tuned down to full step and stuff like that, because I tune down a whole step when I play. Whether he did that or not, I don't know, because he's probably good enough that he didn't even need to alter anything and still make it sound good. But one of the things that he did do that I thought was amazing was, as you know, he has a vast array of bass guitars. He rolled me back and said, hey mate, what kind of bass do you want me to use? And, taking advantage of that opportunity, I said, hey, if you could play the Rickenbacker, I'd be forever grateful, as to me, prog bass is the Rickenbacker, in my opinion. And so he recorded his stuff, and he gave me 2 tracks. One was a DI recording, which is always handy to have, and one was a amp recording, like a recording of the same thing on an amplifier, and the amp sound is just fantastic. It's going to be 90% that, I think, in the final mix. So, as you can tell, I'm extremely excited about this. It's not every day that you get to have somebody of Lee's quality on a record, and I've been very lucky on this record, I have to say, because I've had some amazing people on this record so far. I mean, Joe has done a great job on bass and vocals. David Donnelly has done a stellar job on the song that he did on bass. I just can't speak enough good about the bass job that he did. And Lee Pomeroy, I mean, what are you going to say? The man's he is one of the names in bass in the progressive world. There's no question about it in my mind. So I'm looking very forward to having you guys check out this album, because he'll be on it, and his playing is really worth checking out. Next week will be the announcement of the last bass player. I'm not going to give too much away about that, but it'll be another one that'll be worth checking out, and checking out the update for it, that's for sure. So I think I'll leave it at that. I don't think I need to go over much more of Lee's credentials. I mean, when I did David's one last week, I did it mainly because I felt that David was sort of overlooked as a bass player and all the things that he's done in the music world. So that's why that episode was a little bit longer. But I think for all of you out there who know Lee's work and what he's done, I don't think I need to go through it. I mean, I just listed already just a few things that he's been involved with. All of them have been pretty, I don't know if high-end is the right word to say, but it's stuff that's been well promoted and marketed, let's just put it that way. So I think people are much more aware of it. So it's very exciting for me to be involved with, again, somebody like Lee. So thanks again for watching this, and I look forward to coming back next week with the next update. And even after that's done, like I said before, it is my plan to have each of these guys come on and do an interview with me talking about this record and their part in it. So lots more exciting things to come. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Hit the like button, and I will be back next week with more exciting news for you guys to check out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I will be back again soon. Bye for now.